What your watch says about you. If you wear a Rolex Submariner, you're probably quite boring. If you wear a Rolex Explorer, you're definitely a watch nerd. And if you wear a Rolex GMT Master 2, you have no idea about watches and you don't even know how to use the GMT function. Now, in all seriousness, before I get into the video, let me introduce myself. I'm Jag from Jag's Watches. This is a watch channel that doesn't take itself too seriously. I post 3 times a week. And so if you are looking for watch content, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Now, before I get into it, a disclaimer. This is purely for entertainment. It's all jokes. It's all for fun. And if you find yourself getting upset with what I have to say, it's probably because it's true. Look, we're going to start off with probably the most iconic watch of all time, a watch that I am a fan of, the Rolex Submariner. I call this guy the safe bet guy. This is the ultimate, I want a nice watch, but I don't want to do too much research. It's the safe option. It's the exact watch you buy after watching 3 or 4 videos on YouTube and thinking, that's the watch for me. And honestly, I can't blame you. It's a great watch. But let's be real, if you own a Submariner, you probably told somebody at least once, it's a good investment. Even though you have no plans of selling it. Right, moving on to another very iconic watch, the Omega Speedmaster. I call this guy the space nerd. This is a person that will remind you at every given opportunity that this watch went to the moon. And if he hasn't already, he's itching to tell you that. They probably know every Apollo mission inside out, and they will talk your ear off about how manual winding is a part of the experience. They hate automatic watches. Manual wind is the way to go. We move on to the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. I call this guy the crypto millionaire because let's be honest, me and you, the normal folk, definitely can't just go out and afford a Royal Oak. Either got this watch in one of 2 ways. You're a legitimate baller who appreciates design genius, or you made an obscene amount of XRP in 2021. It's one or the other. Somebody who needs to let everybody in the room know that you made that money in crypto. Refer to your watch as just an AP in a conversation in a room. You don't want to, much attention, but yeah, it's just an AP. It's just an AP. Moving on to another iconic watch. Wow, I've chosen so many iconic watches in this. The Cartier Tank. You are the sophisticated one. You probably post on Instagram 20 times a day. You're probably very stylish. You're probably, a slim build, 6'1", and you own at least one item that is made out of linen. You don't wear watches to show off, you tell people. You wear them as an extension of your personal style. And this person probably refers to coffee as a flat white rather than coffee. Go figure. But hey, at least you have taste. Moving on to a more budget-friendly watch, finally. I know a lot of you are probably watching this thinking, why is he picking so many expensive watches? The Seiko SKX, the budget diver fanatic. You are the person who refuses to spend more than £500 on a watch, and I don't blame you. But somehow you own 15 different watches as a result. You've definitely argued in Reddit that Seiko is better than Rolex, and you'll defend the SKX even though they haven't made it in years. And then we move on to another watch, the Patek Philippe Nautilus. This is the guy who knows a guy. You definitely had to know somebody to get this watch. You waited years, made strategic purchases, and acted like an elite watch collector just to be offered the opportunity to get this watch. You probably don't even wear this watch a lot because you're too scared to scratch it. And let's be honest, when people ask you, is this a Nautilus? You just say, oh yeah, it's just a Patek, and move on from the conversation. Moving on to another classic. I think my wife owns a Casio. I'm talking about the Casio F91W, the minimalist or the serial killer. I've labeled this guy. If you wear this watch, you're either the most practical person on earth or you're planning something very sinister. There is zero in between with the person that I'm talking about. You either bought this watch because it's simple and reliable and gets the job done, or you want to keep a low profile and you want to be doing things which are a little bit questionable. I don't know. You guys make that decision. We went to a brand and a watch that I really don't like. The Hublot Big Bang. Loud and proud. You don't want people just to notice your watch. You want them to hear it across the room. You probably use the word networking at least 3 times a day and describe yourself as an entrepreneur, or you're probably a footballer. You don't care that watch collectors take the mick out of you for wearing a Hublot, because at the end of the day, you have a watch that is made out of 14 different materials and you think that's pretty damn cool. And I don't blame you. Moving on. Another classic watch here. We've got the Tag Heuer Monaco, the guy who thinks he's Steve McQueen. You definitely have watched Le Mans at least 5 times, and you talk about racing heritage at least once a day. You're probably going through a midlife crisis. You love vintage motorsport, but your daily driver is a Toyota Prius. But hey, at least you have good taste in watches, I should say. Moving on to the Apple Watch. I've covered on this before. The fitness tracker denier. You claim you bought this watch because it's useful and it integrates with your lifestyle. But let's be real. You wanted to close your rings and check your messages during meetings without getting caught. You are closing no rings. You are tracking no calories. Deep down, you know that this watch is just a fancy Fitbit and you refuse to admit it. Also, please turn off the sound for all your notifications. It's annoying. Moving on to a watch. Here, we've got the Rolex Daytona, the Flex King. Oh, you have a Daytona, do you? Congratulations. You either have an AD who owes you a favor for making some sort of mistake, or you spent the last 2 years, I've put 2 years here, but actually the last 10 years, playing the Rolex waiting list game. You are a strategic mastermind. Either that, or you're somebody very, very important. And you got it for retail, but you know you paid double for it in the grey market. Either way, you make sure everybody knows you own it, because what's the point of having a Daytona if you don't mention it at least once a day? Moving on to a watch I'm a very big fan of, Tudor Black Bay. The sensible enthusiast. You wanted a Rolex, but didn't want to deal with the nonsense of dealing with a waiting list, so you went directly to Tudor, and I respect you for that, honestly. It's a good choice. You get all the vintage vibes without having to sell a kidney. You tell people that Tudor is basically a Rolex, even though deep down, you still kind of want the Submariner. And you know what? I've been there and I understand that conundrum. Moving on to a watch that I love. Not a particular model I'm talking about here. The Grand Seiko Spring Drive. This is the watch nerd's choice. You spent way too much time on watch forums, you've watched way too many videos on YouTube, and you've probably argued someone online about how Grand Seiko's finishing is actually better than Rolex's. You tell people that the Spring Drive is the best movement ever made, and I might just agree with you on that, even though nobody asked. Also, you might just secretly wish the watch case was a little bit smaller in diameter. Moving on to a classic watch now, the G-Shock DW5600. I call this guy the practical one. You don't have time for nonsense in your life. You need a watch that works, that takes a beating, and that costs less than a dinner date. You probably have owned a Swiss automatic, but let's be real, the G-Shock is the only watch that you wear on a day-to-day basis, and it gets more wrist time because it's just too damn convenient. And fair enough, I love the G-Shocks. Haven't got one myself, but maybe one day, maybe one. My friend Vishan is not going to like me talking about a panerai, but we're talking about the panerai luminor, the guy who skips leg day. You love panerai because it's big, bold, and built for real men. Your wrist looks like a dinner plate, and you refuse to acknowledge watches under 45 millimeters. You also own at least one leather jacket and appreciate Italian design, even though your watch was made in Switzerland. No, but in all seriousness, I am a bit of a fan of panerai, but their watches are huge. And my friend Vishan definitely skips leg day. Now, I hope you've enjoyed the video. As I said, it's just all for fun. Please do not take anything personally. And as I said, if you are heated now and ready to go into my comment section, just know the reason you feel upset is because you know what I've said is true. It's hit a nerve. No, but in all seriousness, thank you for watching to the end of the video. I wanted to mix it up on the channel. I do a lot of reviews of watches and talk about watches in a serious manner in certain cases, but today I was in a little bit more of a light-hearted mood. But as usual, if you've liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe. I've been Jag from Jag's Watches, and remember, timing is everything. See you in the next one. Peace.